Hi everybody, this is Mia, your mystic therapist, honey, and I am here to speak about fear of persecution and how that prevents us from speaking our truth, being our true authentic selves as starseeds and chosen ones. So, I must say that, Spirit is calling me personally to overcome this myself as a starseed and chosen one. So I'm going to share a bit of a story time with you. And if you find me feeling like a little bit of like hesitant energy or like anxious energy, I want you to know that the reason why I'm able to speak about this is because I've been through it, and I help other people through it. So, fear of persecution. Now, the cool thing about Starseeds and Chosen Ones, as you guys have probably seen on previous videos, is that we are literally from another planet, honey. There's so many different planets that we incarnate from, that our souls originate in. A few of those is Orion, Mintaka, Atlantis, Lemuria, Sirius, Pleiades, so many different locations on this earth plane. And then we incarnate, most of us, multiple times, time and time again. But the thing about us starseeds is that we have chosen to incarnate at this time to fulfill a particular mission, as the planet is going through a massive shift and honestly a massive spiritual war, spiritual war, right? And we will talk more about war, because when I say the word war, for some reason it feels aligned. As much as I like to think of myself as a very peaceful, harmonious soul, I think it's important for us to be trained for war, with psychic defense and many other things, mentalism and such. But we'll talk about that in the future. So moving forward, we are going to be talking about persecution, the fear of persecution in this video. And when I speak about persecution, I really mean being shunned, abandoned, attacked, sometimes murdered, for whatever energy that we are exuberating, or expressing in this reality. Sometimes even just simply existing. I know most of y'all who are watching this, you have experienced this. And this doesn't always have to be physical attack. This could be mental attack, emotional attack. And some ways that this may show up is people putting you down, or people trying to discredit you or minimize you or dismiss you, or dismiss your feelings, right? Or dismiss your beliefs, dismiss your ideas, call you weird, call you a misfit, make you feel left out, and just for simply being your authentic self. And this is something that Starseeds and Chosen Ones experience quite a lot, because as you guys will hear me say, Starseeds and Chosen Ones are born to be different. Because if we were the same, we would not be able to complete the mission that God or the goddess has for us in this lifetime. So we were born to be different. We're just cut from a different cloth. Like literally, our DNA is different. We still have human qualities. We still exist in this human body, but our soul is most times galactic. For me, mine is galactic and angelic, and so it's a lot. And so a lot of the times, because of this fear of persecution, this fear of being shunned, this fear of being abandoned, a lot of Starseeds and Chosen Ones don't express their true authentic selves. Whether that is when you're expressing yourself in your family, in your friend group, just out in the world, on social media, right? And I am here to tell you, as someone who not only is a therapist and a psychic medium, but someone who had previous lifetimes as a seer, a psychic, a witch, and who has the soul of all of these things, and a healer, I know a bit about persecution, honey. I know a bit about fear of being, seen, and fear of speaking your truth. And the reason why I know about these things is because I remember my soul's journey in many lifetimes. I remember one particular lifetime of literally being burned on a stake as a witch because I was psychic, right? And in all of these lifetimes, all I did was have the gifts that I have right now: psychic mediumship, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, divination, tarot reading, seeing into the soul, telepathy. I have all of these gifts right now. But in those lifetimes, back in those times, I didn't even have to, I know the terms now, but I didn't even have to know all the terms. But because I was different and because I was able to cure with herbs, I remember as a Romani person back in England in a previous lifetime, I was literally on a stake with a rope around my neck and fire around me, and people chanting, burn the witch. And I know, for me, it's kind of difficult to talk about this because my heart and my soul and my body remembers, and I know we see stuff like this in movies and stuff like that, but you have to remember there's nothing new under the sun. Where do you think the ideas for movies come from? It comes from people who've seen it, I don't want to say who's experienced it, but there's nothing, all I'm going to say is there's nothing new under the sun. But I remember that past life of being burned and hung, I remember a past life, actually fairly recent, and when I say fairly recent, I mean the last 300 years, being a Native American sage and healer. You can call a witch, but I mean, witch just means a craft of the wise. It's actually not as evil as society makes it out to be, but just being a healer. And I lived in Virginia, in the forest with my husband. So just to tell a little bit about this particular past life, interestingly, because I feel like I embody all of the qualities that I had in that lifetime, my soul feels that way. Like inside of me right now, I feel like a 90-year-old Native American, even though they don't like that word. They don't like Native American. Indigenous healer, wise woman. Like that's my soul on the inside. Although I'm young, hot, and sexy, right? Anywho. So yes, honey. In that particular lifetime, it was so cute. Like, I mean, me and my husband, we lived, like, in order for, and I'm gonna have to reveal some things about the future to y'all too, because history is definitely repeating itself, because I could see it. So in that particular lifetime, I lived in a forest, in a cabin like home. I had herbs and flowers and, all sorts of beautiful things, plants and stuff vegetables that I was growing outside of my house. And inside of my house, when you came inside, it was wooden. There was a wooden table. My husband was a little bit older than me. He was like hunched over the table. He was just like my rock. Which very interestingly, my current partner feels the same way. So I believe that may have been him, but it's very interesting. Anyway, so, inside of my home, there were glass jars with the words of each herb, and just jars of herbs and, things all over the wall. Just magical things, powders, potions. I had a separate room in the back with a big cauldron and bottles for potions. And guess what I do now? I sell potions and candles and oils and, solutions and candle magic. I literally have a shop, Flames of Love Enchantments, that you can click the link below and browse some of the things that I have. So all of these magical abilities that I have in this reality to create things that can heal and shift the energy of your life to create your desired outcome, I had in that lifetime. So that's why, although in this lifetime I studied my craft for 8 to 10 years before I even put it out to the world, it was an interest and it was easy for me. Healing is easy for me. Even when I took my first Reiki healing course, it was easy. I don't want to say I didn't need the training, but it was just easy because these are all my past life gifts. So anywho, I lived in the forest, and the reason being because, so what I saw during that regression which interesting wasn't even intentional. It's just, I don't know. That's a whole nother story about the way I can time jump and astral travel to different dimensions and times and space. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, there were certain people, not everybody, honey, certain people who knew of me who had to come through the forest at night, like literally had to walk. I don't want to say a 10-minute walk, but for some reason I feel that way. Had to walk the path to get to my home. Only certain people knew about me, and it was a gate that separated the woods from the outside. And I'll be honest, y'all, on the outside, it was governed by military. You know, there were like people who were coming over and colonizing and destroying and treating people like crap, plagues, famine, all sorts of stuff that was going on outside of those gates, right? And the forest, there was a gate around it, and I lived in that with my husband. And I genuinely feel that energy manifesting in this lifetime again, with all this stuff that they're doing in this reality, with the famine, with the new world order that's taking over, all the stuff they're doing, all the crime, you know, I feel that energy manifesting again, and I see it psychically and physically. And so, you know, people have to come to me privately because I was able to do the things that the doctors weren't able to do, you know? And so that's how I existed in that life. That's how I existed in that past life. And now in this lifetime, I am having to, and this was me hiding in a way. I was hiding and created a little piece for myself. But in this lifetime, we have technology. And I've come back into this earth with the same gifts, but I'm meant to help more people than I was able to at that time because we have technology, right? And so for me, speaking out and being my true, authentic, magical self in the world, it was a little scary for me because in a past life, I had to hide so that I wouldn't get found and burned. You know what I'm saying? So that fear of persecution for me, it came from that lifetime as well. And so I just wanted to tell you these. I mean, I remember there's another past life too, but I'm not going to go into that unless y'all want me to tell you. I remember a lot of my past lives. So if y'all want videos about my soul's journey along my life path, I will share with you some past life stories because I remember them like it was yesterday. I really do. But, you know, I wanted to share these all to tell you that a lot of the times our fears of persecution comes from past life memories, right? It comes from past life negative experiences, honestly. Especially if you're someone like me who is a witchy woman, right? And when I say witch or witchy woman, I just mean craft of the wise. And when I say craft of the wise, I mean understanding the laws of nature, the laws of the universe, and how to manipulate energy to create desired outcomes on this earth plane and in the spiritual plane. That's all it really means. But the mass media or, the way that certain religions tell it, it's summoning, entities and eating kids and whatnot. No, we are the healers of the community. I've always been a healer in every single lifetime. I've always been a healer, always. And I still am, right? And so in this lifetime, personally, I had to overcome fear of persecution because I was born into a family where, in my younger years, we dabbled in Jehovah's Witnessism a little bit, but my parents converted more, my mom and my stepdad, more when I was 18. And I tried to study it, but all the questions that I had, I did not get the answers. The answer was just Jehovah. And I'm not saying this to take away from any religions. I just am someone who seeks truth. And I wasn't getting my answers met. And my father is Muslim, right? So I grew up going to the mosque a bit as well. I also grew up going to church. I also have a close friend who's Buddhist. I also had a close friend, goddess rest her soul, who was Hindu. And so I've been born, I grew up around a lot of different religions, and, that makes me see religion and spirituality a lot different from everybody else. I don't think that there's one particular one size fits all. And we can talk about that another time. But what I'll say, just to sum that up, is every soul has come here to learn a certain lesson. So before you incarnate here, you choose your family, you choose your identity, you choose, I say you choose some of the things you'll experience on your path so that your soul can learn the lessons and fulfill the purpose that it's meant to fulfill before you go back into the spiritual realm when you die, right? So for me, my mom and my stepdad are very strong converted Jehovah's Witness. You know what I'm saying? So they believe that tarot, well, my mom doesn't think crystals are evil anymore because she did some research, which is very, very nice. I really appreciate her for that. But crystals, psychic mediumship, even the fact they don't believe that people, they think once you die, you're just gone, right? But I see dead people when I do readings. I see people's ancestors all the time. So I know that that's not true. I see into the afterlife, so I know that that's not true, right? But that's true for them, and that's okay. But for me, these are my parents. These are my earth parents, right? And so for me, I had a fear of speaking and being fully myself as the mystic therapist, because of course I was a therapist, but I'm also a psychic, right? I had a fear of completely expressing myself. There was just boundaries that I put on myself for fear of being abandoned and shunned and judged and thought of as evil. I never wanted anybody I love to think that I'm evil, right? But that's the way that they were trained to think. They were trained to think that all of these things are evil. When I work with angels, but I don't need to explain myself at all anymore, honey. I did a lot of that already in my years of coming out of the broom closet gradually, right? But there was a big fear of persecution that I had, and it was holding me back. It was holding me back in my business. It was holding me back in my own evolutionary journey, and I'm so grateful that I found the courage and the strength to overcome those fears, because guess what? And this is a message for you, the person who is still watching this video, because I always embraced who I truly am in my home, with myself, but just coming out onto the world as the mystic therapist, because I have done that, because I have embodied and embraced all of who I am. There are many souls, many people on this earth whose lives has changed forever because of working with me. And this is not only in my own personal business, Flames of Love, where I do tarot therapy sessions and mediumship work and just, therapy sessions for my clients, but even when I worked at the psych hospital, and even where I work now as a therapist for an IOP program, right? Whenever I express, because their souls are needing my wisdom, they need it, right? And whenever I allow myself to just say what it is, hey, this particular angel, this particular sage, that, this is your soul, this is what your guides want to say to you today, it changes their lives forever in the most positive way. And it aligns their soul with who they're meant to be. And they feel so free, a freedom that they didn't feel before they met me. And that is not from my ego. That is the truth. Literally, one conversation with me changes lives. I see it, and they tell me all the time. And I'm so grateful for this gift. But if I would have allowed my own fear of persecution keep me in a box and keep me operating as a regular therapist, there's so many people who wouldn't have been able to be helped. Right? There's people who are spiritual who, have the same fears. They don't want to go to a certain therapist because they might think that they're schizophrenic. For me, I'm psychic. So when someone's schizophrenic, I can see that. And when someone is psychic, I can see that. And there's a lot of people who are psychic. Kids, adults, older, I attract all of the way that the universe is set up, the way that God got us is set up, I attract the people who are meant to work with me. So if you are feeling called to book a session with me, it's because you're meant to work with me. Because there's a certain thing that there's a certain service and certain spiritual contract that we may have for me to help you to truly see yourself in your path, right? That's just the way that it is. But imagine if I didn't answer the call. Imagine if I didn't answer the call of the goddess. The way that the goddesses have healed me, the way that the goddesses have healed my clients, the way that the goddesses are the only ones who can do the things that they do. Imagine if I decided to say, no, I'm going to just try and fit in a box, and I'm going to try and stay in this religion that doesn't resonate with my soul at all. You know, don't get me wrong, I respect it, but that's not me. That's just not who I am. I don't want to say I'm bigger than that. I'm not bigger than God, but I'm bigger than the constraints that particular structures tries to place on my very expansive soul. My soul that extends across all time and space, and that has been here since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time, you know? Why would I put myself in such a box? For fear of persecution. That's the first way to depression. Right? And so with that being said, if you have made it this far into this video and you are having a fear of persecution of embracing all of who you are, embracing your artistic nature, embracing your cringe, embracing your weirdness, embracing the thing that may make people judge you, I want to call you to action to embody all of those things, because guess what? If it's who you are, it's who you're meant to be. You don't need approval from the outside world. The only approval that you need is from yourself and from the Most High. If the Most High is like, you know, hey, honey, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then guess what? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And you must also remember, you are going to be persecuted no matter what. For me, I don't even have to be a psychic healer, you know? I'm beautiful, honey. So I experience persecution just for simply being beautiful. I'm a woman, honey, so I experience some type of persecution for just being a woman. I am an African-American goddess, honey, so I experience persecution for just simply being a woman of color, for simply being an Aries, you know what I'm saying? For simply just having an actual soul in my body. Some people, you know, they don't really have souls, so they get around someone with a soul and they just like, So basically what I'm saying to that is we're going to experience persecution anyway. And I just wanted to quote one thing that a really close friend of mine, who's a guy, but I call him Grandmama because, you know, he likes to bake and he's very sweet and has this like old lady spirit, and it's so funny. But anyway, you know, when I was having a moment of like a fear of persecution for speaking certain truths, what he said to me is, well, they can't burn you in this lifetime. Well, no one's going to kill you in this lifetime for that. And I was like, damn, you're right. Just because you remember getting murdered for being yourself in a past life doesn't mean you're going to get murdered in this lifetime, especially if you learn to protect yourself. So if you are having a fear of persecution, pick your persecution. Would you rather be persecuted for being someone who you're not? Or would you rather be persecuted for being someone who you are? Because the persecution is going to come no matter what, because people have not embraced their shadow, so they're constantly projecting and judging others. It's just the law of human nature. People are just like that. Fortunately, as you express your true self, your vibe will attract your tribe, and you'll find people who resonate with you like I have. I'm so grateful. The people in my life who are in my personal circle of people, I can be my true 1000% authentic self with them. And the clients who I attract in my business, they can be their true 1000% authentic self with me, and I can be my 1000% authentic self with them because I'm being myself. Because I'm myself, I hold space for them to be themselves. Right? So, that's my video. I don't know. If you can relate to this video, please drop 4 hearts in the comments and comment, like, how has this shown up in your life? You know? And that's it. I can't believe I said this out loud online, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep doing it because it's actually very freeing. So if you have been like, oh, I want to say this on YouTube, or I want to say this on my social media, but I'm afraid, honey, if one person like it, that's one human being. If 5 people see it, that's 5 humans. Imagine if they were in your house. 5 people watching to hear what you got to say. You don't need hundreds and thousands of people to watch it. 5 people, that's 5 humans. Imagine if you were given a talk and there was 5 people sitting in them chairs. That's 5 people. Be grateful. And even if no one sees it, at least you do. So express your truth, express yourself, because that's what you were born to do on this, in this incarnation, Starseed, chosen one. Okay? Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you would like to work with me, click the link below. Book a session. You know, everything that I make in my shop works, honey. So click the link below. And I love you. Thank you for being here. Have a great day.